Good morning, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good day, everyone, and God bless you. Alright, let's get into the news this Tuesday morning. And it seems like not only conservatives and Republicans are tired of Joe Biden, apparently Democrats are as well, or at least many Democrats who are. Portal is supposedly part of the 81 totally legitimate individuals who went out and voted for this totally legitimate potato, right? He was having this. There was an event going on today talking about gun control. And of course, if you go to one of these events at the White House, they're hand-picked individuals that support the regime. They aren't going to let anybody that is an enemy to the regime, right? You're not going to let anybody in like that. However, this guy came in and started heckling Biden during his speech today about gun control. One of his 81 million supporters came out and started heckling him because this dude is an absolute garbage individual when it comes to leading our country, so and of course who raising the family apparently as well. Right, Peter? Most of you guys will get that. It says here, sit down, and you'll hear what I have to say. Joe Biden heckled at the White House during remarks on new gun control law. That's right. Joe Biden on Monday was heckled by a Parkland shooting victim's father as he delivered remarks on the new control law at the White House. Sit down and you'll hear what I have to say, Biden said. According to the New York Post, the heckler Manuel Oliver is now a gun control advocate after losing his 17-year-old son Joaquin in the 2018 school shooting in Parkland. And this is Manuel World. The word celebration has no spaces, society. That's all 19 kids massacred just a month ago. Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. Not me not walking. Change the ref. Anyway. Manuel shout at something unintelligible daring due to the pour out of field to feed, to which Biden responded. We have one. Let me finish my comments. Let's go and take a listen to it. And again, you can barely hear what the protests are saying. Biden said. Many things is true that despite the naysayers, we can make meaningful progress on dealing with gun violence. Because make no mistake, sit down, you'll hear what I have to say. If you think you let him talk, no one. Okay. Because make no mistake about it. This legislation is real progress from. Okay. The US Senate last month obviously voted 65-33 to prove the SAFER Act, a sweeping gun control legislation that included red flag laws. All senators who caucus with the Democrats voted yay. 50 Republicans joined the Democrats who voted yay. Again. It's awesome to see when the regime leader gets heckled by his own party, by his own group of individuals. It's always refreshing to see those people heckle him. It's very hilarious because it throws them off completely off me, and surprising, and say shut up fat, challenge him to some type of push-up contest or something, who knows. This guy's insane, out of his mind. And then, what's happening with Liz Cheney? Alright. Liz Cheney has raised millions of dollars, but only 202,000 have come from donors in Wyoming. Okay. Harriet Hagman, who is Trump and Doris, has raised about 745,000, with a majority of that coming from in-state donors. Once again, 745, $750,000 from Harriet Hagman, mostly from in-state donors. But Liz Cheney has only raised 200,000 from donors in Wyoming, even though she has raised millions. Well, Coburn, according to Open Secrets. Her highest donors come from California and Texas, both of which have given well over $500,000. Each double was coming from in-state. She also raised 1466000 from Virginia donors, 405000 from Florida, and 8000 from I'm from New York. Okay. Even Connecticut at 215,000 donated more to her campaign than people in her own home state. Well, as you dig into it like Breitbart did, they're finding that a lot of Obama, that's right, Obama and Hillary folks are backing with money. The primary, which comes up in August, of Liz Cheney. While polling shows Hagman has taken a huge lead with the primary just around the corner, the American donor class has taken notice of kidney shrinking chances of retaining receipt. One of the Democrats' most prominent donors, film producer Katzenberg, has funded Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton's former presidential campaigns, and he's donated, this is really weird, at least $43,000 to Cheney, so he alone has donated about a fifth of what the entire state of Wyoming has. But what's interesting is they said the totality of the sum has not been disclosed for unknown reasons. So there may be even more dark money there, if you will. We agree on little things of anything. Canonsburg admitted, but she has done something that very few people in history had done. Well, she's putting her country over party and politics to stand in defense of our Constitution, as she is a leader on an unconstitutional unselect on a bipartisan committee. Other folks as a strategist who advised for Left-Link, LinkedIn co-founder and Democratic donor Reid Hoffman is also supporting she's most important politician in America right now. If the left loves Cheney, you know, the right is not about her. Who else is on? Who's crashing? Check this out. The Civiqs poll has hit a new low, with Biden having 29% approval rating of below 30. This is a new low. And that's according to this polling. You know that the numbers in reality are even lower than that. The AP Associated Press said that 85% of people say that we're on the wrong track. Gallup polls is 87%. And the Monmouth poll says 88% say we're on the wrong track. Blitz again, these numbers are a little bit deeper. By the way, in all 50 states, he is below 40%. He's in the 30s in approval, except for Hawaii and Vermont. No other state has Biden above 38% approval. Now check this out. Tying in our last news story with this next one. Wyoming is only at 6%. Yeah, good luck, Liz Cheney, winning in a state where your state has the man in the Oval Office at 16% approval. I mean, that's probably more in line with America, and 16% are probably the Roe v. Wade, foaming at the mouth, or so they only care about that one topic. Well, now when you look at it, by party, averaging these, the Civiqs poll approved for Biden as 63% among Democrats, and only 1% among Republicans. The much-needed independent vote is less than 20%. It's done. Now, one of the reasons why people cannot stand Joe Biden is because he's not who he says he was. Now, we always knew that he was going to be a puppet of Obama, that he was going to be a puppet of Soros. So this is going to be the third term of one, Barack Hussein Obama and George Soros, and a puppet of the CCP. But a lot of people thought he was going to be a moderate. And they got a hardcore leftist, or at least someone who just goes along with the okie dokie of the hardcore leftists. And he continues to do so, even to the detriment and even to the breaking of federal law. Joe Biden was wearing a hat when he was embarrassed by wearing a bike helmet. And the press goes, okay, you look great. You look great, because you know, they're all on the same side. But here was Biden's message to pro-Roe v. Roe v. Wade protesters. Do you have a message, Mr. President, from women who were protesting outside the White House yesterday? Biden said. Yes, keep protesting, because keep making your point. It's critically important. We can do a lot of things to accommodate the rights of women. In the meantime, have fundamentally changed this as if we have a national of us thinks Roe v. Wade. Okay, keep protesting. Now I want to remind you that Biden is yet to condemn the attempted assassination of Justice Brett Kavanaugh, and he's out there saying, keep protesting, have your voices heard? Well, if President Trump is an insurrectionist, because people went to protests on the Capitol on the 6th day of 2021, that isn't this a dog whistle? I mean, here's what's happening right now. Our sins have set fire to pro-life centers and continue protesting outside the home of court justices this weekend. Okay, so there was attacks on churches in D.C. and Bethesda, a D.C. suburb. I used to live in the desert for a short while as a kid. My dad worked at Walter Reed, my father worked at Walter Reed. An arson was set at St. Jane, the Chantel Catholic Church yesterday. Over $50,000 in damages to pews. Another church on Saturday, and North Bethesda, the United Methodist Church, was vandalized. And do you have Joey saying keep protesting, keep protesting? Wow. Fires arson. And what does Joey say? Keep protesting. While remember, one of the big protests are happening in front of the homes of justices, which is a federal crime. You're not allowed to protest in front of a juror. You know, jurors' homes, the juror's home, any judge or justice. That's against federal law. And here we have the President of the United States encouraging people to do so. Like I said, President Trump has insurrectionist. What is Biden? Because Antifa is now offering rewards. The DC-based Antifa is offering rewards for tips on the locations of the Supreme Court justices, the conservative ones who are out in public who voted to overturn Roe v. Wade. And here is Biden saying, "Keep protesting, shut down DC." Antifa based out of DC tweeted out DC service industry workers. If you see Kavanaugh, Alito, Thomas Gorsuch, Coney Barrett, or Roberts, DMS with the details will then mail you $50 for a confirmed sighting and $200. And they're still there 30 minutes after your message so they can harass them. Of course, let's not forget that Kavanaugh had to be snuck out the back door of a Morton Steakhouse, because people came in the front door to protest. He couldn't even have a steak dinner. It's a done deal. Even your beloved Biden. Oh, there was one number I forgot to share with you. I think I did. Biden's approval is 63% among Democrats and only 1% among Republicans. So that 1% of Republicans that think bumbling Biden is a beautiful protector of our rights. Here's something to convince you otherwise: he is encouraging the harassment of justices. That's what it sounds like Biden is saying. I mean, if you hold them the same standard that holding Trump to, who said peacefully, patriotically, have your voices heard, yet somehow he's an insurrectionist and was calling for violence when he literally said peacefully and patriotically. Have your voices heard. But we have Joe Biden telling people to keep protesting. And if you look at the word keep, that means continue. When you look at the type of protests they've been doing, that's illegal, arson, vandalism, and protesting in front of the residences of Supreme Court justices. And he told them to continue that. And now we have Antifa offering rewards for the whereabouts of these people in public. They have a national Roe v. Wade thing, which of course they shouldn't anyway, because it's the state's right. And as I call it before, they could have done this back in the magic day of Obama, when they held the majority in the House and the Senate, and they held a while in the White House. But no, they didn't want to solve Roe v. Wade. They need to have it as a boogeyman to scare leftists and Marxists and foaming at the mouth. Weeping and wheeling, gnashing of teeth. Folks from their death cult who want this? Alright, it's about to get real, folks. Trump, who says he's considering attending Shinzo Abe's funeral in Japan. He's working with the family to do that. He has waived executive privilege. Steve Bannon will be testifying before the Unselect Committee of, quote, thugs and hags, thugs and hacks. Okay, so former White House advisor Stephen K. Bannon is offered Saturday to testify before the January 6th committee after former President Donald Trump waived executive privilege is allowed to do so, reversing a stubborn months-long stance. Bannon, according to New York Times, unfortunately, will likely have to testify behind closed doors, as all other witnesses have done before. All of their testimony is selectively and misleadingly edited for public release. This whole thing, remember, is one-sided against President Trump. There is not really truly a partisan committee. There is no defense. There's just questions that lead to a narrative and then selectively edited. I'm sure Steve Bannon is gonna have a lot to say later today on the War Room. The first one to break this was War Room engineer Grace Zhang, obviously, of C. Abandons War Room. President Trump waived executive privilege on Steve Bannon. He is attorney Robert Costello. Letter to Bernie Thompson below, requesting to set a date for Bannon to appear to testify publicly before the January 6th committee. Like I said, they're probably gonna do it behind doors, but this is what the letter says a lot about the subpoena that you received in September 2021. This is the letter from President Trump to Steve Bannon from the illegally constituted Unselect Committee, the same group of people who created the Russia scam, impeachment hoax number 1 and patience hoax number 2, the Mueller witch hunt, which ended with no collusion and other fake and never-ending yarns and tales. Once again, this is a letter to Steve Bannon from President Trump. When you first received the subpoena to testify and provide documents, I invoked executive privilege. However, I watched how unfairly you and others have been treated, having to spend vast amounts of money on legal fees and all of the trauma you must be going through for the love of your country and out of respect for the office of the president. Of course, he's also referring to Peter Navarro. Therefore, if you reached an agreement on time and in place for your testimony, I will waive executive privilege for you, which allows for you to go in and testify truthfully and fairly as per the request of the Unselect Committee of political thugs and hacks who have allowed a no due process, no cross-examination, and no real Republican members or witnesses to be present or interviewed. It is a partisan kangaroo court. Why should these evil, sinister, and unpatriotic people be allowed to hurt and destroy the lives of so many and caused such great harm to our country? It has been from the time it came down the escalator at Trump Tower, a political hit job against the overwhelming majority of Americans who support the concept and policy of making America great again, and putting America first. Good luck in all your future endeavors. Sincerely, Donald J. Trump. So CNN had an extensive report on it. And there's Representative Zoe Lofgren was on CNN yesterday. And she said that she can't release much information, but that they will be moving forward and probably taking Banden's deposition first, and secret. Of course, they must ever then do these treasonous traitors, rat bastards do is in secret. It's never with the full light of day and the full exposing of sunlight. Okay. The World Economic Forum is saying that gas prices must continue to climb to save our democracy. The World Economic Forum released a position paper today that links to blame global prices as a global crisis as one climate change and the decline of democracy. And it says fighting the former can save the latter as long as consumers stop burning coal, oil and gas in exchange for green renewables. So they're done wheeling down. Just as that happened today, let me tell you what's going on across the nation. In Wallace, Texas, residents have been evacuated after an explosion on a natural gas pipeline. Isn't that interesting? Authorities also responded to a massive fire at the natural gas plant near Medford, Oklahoma. Follows an explosion on Saturday afternoon. Something else is going on here, folks. Do we have a new dastardly plan? They're already plotting to starve our babies that they can no longer execute. And now they want to at least wholesale throughout the United States without states' rights, allowing them to. We have the World Economic Forum saying gas prices are too low, the need to go up to force people off of gas, something that has also been echoed by the Biden regime. And now we have here in Texas and Oklahoma, literally within 48 hours of this being published, happened before. But we're having these natural gas pipelines all of a sudden on fire and citizens being evacuated. Luckily, no one's been harmed or hurt so far. That's 2 data points, folks. Let's see if we start getting 3 and 4. And we start seeing a new trend. But what about renewables? Well, here's what's going on in Texas. The Electric Reliability Council of Texas has warned power consumers in Texas to conserve energy today, afternoon and evening, because there's not enough wind power to generate the power grid reliably during peak demand. So they say we need renewable energies. And we have Texas wanting. It's folks that the renewable source of wind is not sufficient to generate the electricity they need. And over in Russia, a major gas pipeline from Russia to Germany was shut down for maintenance today. I mean, given concerns that Russia may not resume the flow of gas as scheduled, supposedly is down for annual maintenance, but Russia may be cutting them off. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Give me your thoughts below and